Hello, friends. Here we are in the middle of Lent. It's been 2.5 weeks since Ash Wednesday, and taking up again this journey of Lent. Already on the horizon, we see Easter and Holy Week. We see the cross. And so maybe now is a good time to ask ourselves, so how is our Lent going? Is it transforming ourselves, our heart, who we are as a person, how we see ourselves? And is our Lent transforming things around us, our relationship with our spouse or within our family? Is it transforming how we are at work? Is it transforming the ways in which we try to contribute to the betterment of society, to a neighborhood association, to the poor and hurting in the global south? Is Lent transforming, bringing about those transformations in us? And when we ask that question, we can do so within the context of this Jubilee year. It's 2025. Every 25 years there's a Jubilee year that is especially about reconciling and allowing God to do his wondrous work of freeing us and of, in that freedom, bringing us to share his love all that much more, with greater truth and integrity. So I was thinking about that, and the Jubilee year has as theme Pilgrims of Hope. So journeying and having more hope within ourselves, having more hope for our daily life, our relationships, but even hope for our world. Hope for our world. And in thinking about that, well, what's the source, the foundation, the well from which that hope can be drawn? And I'd like to say and Lent is much about this, about letting ourselves be stripped, letting ourselves be stripped of our false certainties, our ways of assuring our well-being and our interests, dying to self. We say, let go and let God, but that letting go is about choosing to be stripped of all that keeps us from freely loving, from freely, ever more totally loving. And of course, in that, the source of our hope is the cross. Think of that. Jesus allows himself to be stripped of all power, all significance. He's humiliated. He's killed. He allows that to happen. He's stripped of everything except one thing, and that's his love of the Father. Receiving the love of the Father, he puts all of his confidence in that love and loves unto the end. That's all he's got left. But he's got all of that gives him total freedom to forgive. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. To see his life, his whole life, as an offering, a gift, that the Father's love might be known by all. He's free to say, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. So that whole sense of choosing to be stripped, allowing ourselves to be stripped of our false certainties, or our false sense of what life is all about. Because we need to be stripped of our indifference, perhaps even to what we are called to be as people. Oh, well, I am what I am. Things I've always been like this. I can't really change. Well, isn't that saying no to the grace of God, to the wondrous ways in which God works in us and brings us closer to Him? And so, in so doing, then, brings us closer to others. So to be stripped of our indifference towards the suffering of others or the condition of the world. It's always been the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. It's always the strong getting what they want. It's always. Things don't change. And to be stripped of that indifference. And to be stripped of our fear. Of our fear of loving and giving ourselves. I'm not talking about huge things. I'm talking about taking that time, the 5 minutes, the hour, to be with someone who needs our presence, needs our encouragement, needs our mercy, just needs us. Because we can have a fear that, if I love even more, I'm going to lose myself. Things are going to be out of control. If I continue loving, if I ask God to help me love even more fully, I'm going to lose myself. Where will this all end? If I truly commit to a cause for justice in our city, for the homeless, or if I really pour myself into renewing, revitalizing, the bond of love in marriage, if I allow all that is for me, about me, to be stripped away. And that's a choice on our part. Jesus made His choice. And so we know the power of the resurrection, of love stronger than death, stronger than sin, stronger than our indifferences, stronger than our fears. Lent is not just I'll give up this and give up whatever. No, it's about allowing ourselves in prayer, through the Word of God, through reflection, through conversations about meaning, spiritual conversations with those we're closest to. What does it mean to choose to be stripped of, in essence, ourselves, our self-interest, our need for control? I was thinking about that. It's loving in the face of suffering, ours or that of others. We sometimes use the term the redemptive quality of suffering. What quality is there in suffering? But if we allow ourselves to be stripped of what is us trying to control, and choose to try to love in the midst of suffering that cancer brings, or suffering that family relationships bring, to choose to ask that God helps us to be ever more free to love. And then, the redemptive suffering of others is only redemptive if we embrace that suffering, if we're interiorly free enough to really embrace the suffering of others, to let our heart be wounded by their wounds, and then be there with the gift of ourselves, with our time, our efforts, the gift of ourselves freely given for the sake of the good, the dignity, the justice for that person, those people. Anyway, I was just thinking about that. Lent. A place where we find our hope, our sources of hope. We become pilgrims of hope. And that by choosing to and allowing ourselves to be stripped of all that is, we're in control, it's about us. And joining Jesus on that cross in a way that frees us to truly love, to become people of love and instruments of love. Anyway, something to think about, something to pray and turn towards the Word of God, and just live out Lent. Dying to ourselves, finding out how and where and when we need to die to ourselves, and finding our hope in dying to ourselves, because in Jesus, that brings life, that brings hope. Thank you.